Good morning, hello. I hope to be able to see what's going on here. My eyes are not that good anymore. I believe my presentation is a little bit more futuristic because I'm not with a learning management system and I don't talk about academic staff members who don't want to go online, and I don't talk about students who don't have access. Let's just do something differently. What happened here was I presented a paper at the ICDE conference, and you know, sometimes you get advice, present a paper on something that you're interested in, and that's what I did. So you will see I'm interested in digital curation, so I did like a whole study, or read a lot to be able to present my paper. So you will see, I'm just not used to this, what we will be doing. We will look at the change that's taking place in higher education. I will introduce the concept of meta-literacy. I will explain the process of curation and point to a few digital curation tools. And then a model that I found particularly useful in guiding one's thoughts when you incorporate technology in your teaching. But remember, this is only my own views because I cannot say that I share this with a lot of people. I believe books are, some of our books are on their way out. Books, to write a prescribed book and then you make people pay for it. I personally, I'm glad I don't have a prescribed book, because I somehow just feel we shouldn't be making money from our students, but that's just my opinion, so I must maybe keep it to myself. Prescribed books are really becoming outdated. There will always be space for a prescribed book, a good prescribed book, but your student can sit in your class, Google information. But that is where this comes to. It's just merely Googling information is not sufficient, and that is what I'll be referring to. So I believe books are not maybe as popular as they used to be anymore. In our own lives, we use apps. Probably some of us use apps in our teaching. Our students, if they have access to like smartphones, etc., they will be using apps. Okay, changing requirements for the, like I said, this is futuristic. Changing for 21st century requirements are we need to be creative, we need to be proactive. Critical thinking is something that we are encouraged to support with let our students develop. We need to collaboratively generate knowledge. That is something in the Web 2 environment. I believe some of you are on like, what do you call it, like communities of practice that you participate in. We need ICT competencies in the current environment. Okay. I do believe in this statement. The illiterate of the 21st century are not those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay, so I'm not so sure about the people who don't want to go online, who don't want to develop new skills. If you got a BCom degree or an MA or a doctorate or what degree one obtained, the knowledge will become not outdated. Some of your basic principles will stay, but knowledge changes so much daily that we cannot just say, oh, this is my book, this is my doctorate, this is my master's, and now I'm done for life. We cannot. This is what I believe. Okay. You can see there you need to decode information from various texts and digital formats. And indeed we need, in the current environment or for the future, we need multiple literacies. It's not sufficient anymore to just be able to read books, hard copy articles, not sufficient anymore. Indeed, our students need a critical information literacy, and that is the key term, critical. And maybe it's good compared to when I studied. We had a prescribed book and you sat in class, and the lecturer stood in front, you took your notes, and you wrote your exam, and there you go. Now, it cannot be the same anymore. Okay, mine was very, very, very long ago, but I believe some people still do it like that, where you have your prescribed book, they come into the class, they speak, a site that I recently looked, I take part on ResearchGate, and I see one of the questions was, I'm aware that some lecturers dictate to students. No, really? Why does the student have to come to class? If you as a lecturer start there and you say, okay, next point. But remember, and I'm teaching at a distance, so that's a challenge. I don't have the luxury of dictating to a student, but that's another story. Okay, critical. This is something that's quite a new field to me, and if I stumble, please bear with me. When I read about this, these are two people, Mackey and Jacobson. They are more from like the library environment, but they wrote a very valuable paper where they introduced the concept of meta-literacy. And so they suggested that this concept informs all other literacy types. And they suggested this is what our students actually need. It's quite, what's the word, ambitious, but let's look at it. Students are prepared to actively produce and share content through social media and online communities. You can see what it refers to, and I will just point out the main literacies or the main concepts that they point out. Students need to understand various format types and delivery modes. So that means if a student, for instance, is now moving away from paper, which I believe our students should also be able to do, and they have to present something in a different format, they need to know which format types are available and how to evaluate those format types. User feedback. Think, for instance, on an online site, and a student visits the site. It can be quite a daunting task to evaluate the feedback that you find on a site. If you go to your LMS, hopefully your teacher will be, your classmate will be there. So it's a fairly defined environment. But when you go on a different site, some students may not have the distinguishing capability to evaluate the feedback. You know, what is the reasoning behind this person's feedback? I can just share to my own detriment. I booked a flight, a hotel in Dublin, of course, online, and it was a very good price, which I'm very glad about, about 50% reduction. But then afterwards, I read the feedback, and the person said, this hotel was only near the airport. So I'll be staying near the airport and far away from all other places, but I'm happy because I saved a lot, and it's in the UK, so I'll be traveling by bus and by train, hopefully. Okay. So yeah, sometimes you take risks. Then a context. Now the student, if you go online, you're in a different format, you need to be able to judge what is the expertise of the person that's providing this information. It can be difficult. You know about like cyberbullying, that is something that we can consider addressing in a future event. People tend to feel if they're in an online environment, they're anonymous for some other reason. So I can do what I want, I can say what I want, I can offend other people, that's fine. And so it's a different context, and our students need to be aware of some of these trends. Okay, content again, is the site, for instance, where the information, is it authentic? Is it an informal site? Is it formal? That is distinguishing capability. And then, this may be quite a challenge, but this is what these people say. They say that our students should be able to create some of these, let's call it artifacts. They need to be able to create content in different formats. And I do agree with that we also need to start moving away from just paper. I mean, in 20 years' time, I don't think paper will be that popular anymore. And then this is something that we probably guide our students about. Some of us probably use Turnitin, information ethics, copyright protection, the image that you use, are you allowed to use the image? So there are this I think most people prepare their students for. And then share information. If they have to share information in some of these, for instance, online environments, they need to be able to know how will they organize the information, how will they review it, how will they prepare it. It's quite a challenge. It's different, né? Different to the paper. Okay, so I said I'm interested in digital curation. Just to define, I'm struggling to read here. It's the sifting and aggregation of internet and other digital resources into a manageable collection of what teachers and students find relevant, personalized, that you can read it for yourself. And because knowledge and information changes so much these days, there is a place for something like this. We actually use curation in our own lives. We curate a photo base of our lives. We share information on Facebook, but you create information that you want other people to see about you. So we do it informally. We can consider including it in our teaching and learning. These people were quite, what's the word, positive about the tool that I'm positive about. They said that digital curation is an active process whereby content or artifacts are purposefully selected to be preserved for future access. I want to ask if anybody here has a Scoopit site, because that's my poison of choice. Do you have a Scoopit choice? Do you have a Scoopit site? Then you'll have to help me. Is there somebody else? The person from Wits who told the story. I believe everyone listened to him. And there's a moral there, storytelling. And this is also part of a digital curation to some extent, tells a story. Okay, so I'll be glad if you show your sites. I thought this picture provides an idea of what it is. You pick the fruits from the tree that you believe are relevant for your field of study or your area of interest or your Scoopit site or your Pearl Trees of site or whichever site you use. And I believe it would be interesting for our students to also be able to do that. Now, this is just from the paper. Can you see what these people did? They used various types of activities, and then they said, but in the core lies Scoopit, because they're very positive about Scoopit. And Storify, I haven't used Storify. Some of you may be aware of Storify, Pearl Trees, and was it Pinterest. So there are various types of tools. My own, what happened here? This is my one site. I just want to move on. This is the consumer psychology. This is what I specialized in, consumer psychology. So an interesting thing happened. I also studied online, and while I was busy with my studies, I created one evening. I knew I had it. I shouldn't, because I had an immense amount of reading that I had to do. But I created two sites. This one and the consumer psychology site. So there was interest in my consumer psychology site. But then what happened was somebody recommended my site on Twitter, and I don't know where else. He's in Canada. I don't know. I must have done something good, because all of a sudden there was much more interested in this site. And just yesterday I did this with some of our students, and I was so pleasantly surprised to see how easy this tool is to use. They could sit there and they could create their own sites. It's not my own students. I'm not in a teaching capacity at the moment. I hope to return to teaching next year. So, but this is really an easy site to use. You can just see there, it's very interesting. You can see who follow you, from which countries the people are. It's very interesting. But my final point, if we have time, we can quickly look at the sites, maybe some of the other people as well. I found this very useful. I know I talk to people, instructional designers and people who are interested in this field. This model from Bates and Poole. Okay, it's not that new anymore. Does anybody know about the sections model? Okay, I found it very useful because sometimes you want to incorporate a type of technology in your teaching and you need a guideline. So they suggested the sections model. The students, for which level of higher education is this suitable? Now, digital curation you can use from first year to doctoral level. I've seen publications where people recommend it at doctoral level. I've also seen sometimes that people say, I curate this site as part of my doctoral studies. Now, I mean, that is wonderful. That shows the person is interested in their field and they also follow trends in their environment. Okay, sick. Ease of use and reliability. As I explained to you, some of these tools are very easy to use. And we actually use some of them in our daily lives, but that means they were not meant to be used in education. And that may require a type of knowledge or insight from the academic staff member involved to use it in an appropriate manner. The cost, many of these tools are available free of charge, not a concern. Technology, which kind of learning does this technology support? Critical thinking, various types of learning, collaborative learning, that various types of learning that this type of technology support. What kind, of course, again, interactivity. You can, I can interact with somebody in Canada, in America, in Swaziland, in any part of the world. there's no limit. Organizational issues, this may be something of interest to us. Which organizational issues issues may limit us? The expertise of staff members, would this be allowed in our assessments? Things like that. Novelty, how new is the technology? Curation tools are not novel anymore. How quickly can this be incorporated? It can be incorporated very quickly, because if one decides to, but the lecturer needs to be informed, but you can use this quickly. Okay, and then just a few final thoughts. If we embed these types of tools, it may increase our students' motivation and engagement, and it may assist us in achieving our learning outcomes. At the time when I did this paper, or prepared for this one, it was the person suggested that connectivism, because we've heard the word pedagogy, I struggle with that one a few times today, because there must be an underlying educational base. So some people suggested that we use connectivism. I also read about pedagogies of abundance, the idea that there is so much knowledge available that you can incorporate, you assist in scaling down the information. Okay, so for now, must I say thank you, or do you want us to go to the site? Must I say thank you? I say thank you. Okay, thank you. So can I quickly go to my site? Yes. Okay. Now I just need the clever person, Bongani, or who was here from? Where is he? I'll try and do it myself. I am online. Okay, just if wil jy my help, sal jy? That's it. Okay. What is nice about this, which is I really want to point this out to you. My screen is not that good at the moment. Can somebody just help me reduce the screen? Because I want to show you something. Zoom in. Something that's useful. Okay. Okay, it's lying far. Where's the Apple person? Can you help me, please? So I update this site. I was telling the students yesterday daily, even Christmas Day. On a day like today, I won't have that much time, and in my current position, I also don't have much time, but this is something that I enjoy. I benefit from it, because I'm forced to read little snippets of information, and when I have to, for instance, prepare something, won't you please help me, so it's just, and we can also see the whole screen, thank you. And when I have to prepare something, for instance, a presentation or a little contribution to a newsletter, I visit my own site. Because at the beginning, when there wasn't much interested in the site, I thought to myself, okay, this will be my own repository of information. Now, I'm glad it's not my own repository of information anymore, but I will continue doing so, even if it's not much, because you benefit, you learn daily. Okay, I just want to show them one thing there on the side. And it doesn't show up completely. If I could just go there towards the right-hand side of the... Yeah. Can I just show you something here? So the people who are used to this site, suggested content, I'm not sure. Okay, when you develop your site, you provide keywords. That's why it's good for students. So you provide this, I think mine is higher education and various things, plagiarism. So this I get in my feed. Now you saw it there. I get the contents, the suggested content in my feed, and then I scroll through the contents, and I decide, and that's what I like. Your knowledge, you are forced to think for yourself. That would help a student if they had to think for themselves. Your knowledge base, be it consumer psychology, be it what your field of interest is, you determine whether what you want to put in here. But something that I believe may be of interest, can you see there's a little funnel there, a trechter? Can you see the funnel? Okay, so what I do when I scoop something, here at the bottom there's that edit. When I upload the specific scoop, I provide keywords. So if somebody from outside, and even myself, visit the site, they can click on the funnel and they can put in their keywords, and they will find topics that are of interest to them. So yes, thank you. Now I can say thank you.